I keep.
My God.
Okay.
Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Muktaye Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarchinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Sunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sankapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasti Tadadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidhusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste, namaste.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram. In the last class, towards the end, when we lost the Zoom link, we were discussing the fourth topic of the second chapter, which I said was from verse 54 to 72. And this is also a very important topic. That is the Sthira Prajna or Sthita Prajna. Both are same. Sthira Prajna, Sthita Prajna are same meaning. Okay. A Jnani, a person who is abiding in his self-knowledge. So, a Sthira Prajna is a person who has successfully gone through Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. One who has not only clearly gained self-knowledge that I am the Atma, I am not the body, mind, sense complex, but has also assimilated this knowledge and he has converted this intellectual knowledge into emotional strength. That is the final goal, converting the knowledge that we gain into emotional strength. And we saw that in this Sthira Prajna portion, there are two divisions. One, Krishna says how to become a Sthira Prajna. That is one topic. That is after learning Vedanta, how to convert that knowledge into emotional strength. And this has to be done by self-effort only. Nobody can help in this. So we have to clearly understand what sadhanas we have to necessarily do with the help of a guru and what sadhanas we have to do by one's own effort. This should be very clear in a sadhaka's mind. There are only two sadhanas that we can do with the help of a guru. That is Shravanam and Mananam. In fact, not only we can do, we have to do only with the help of a Guru. It is compulsory. We should not do Shravanam and Mananam by self-study. Because the Guru in the Parampara is skilled in unfolding the message which is contained in the Upanishads, in the scriptures and all that. So therefore, we need to necessarily take the help of a Guru for these two sadhanas, Shravanam and Mananam. And knowledge of the scriptures successfully gained, I would put it, will make one prajna. Therefore, one has to become prajna with the help of a Guru alone. Guru only can convert a person into prajna through Shravanam and Mananam. And the Guru's role stops there. Beyond this point, it is all self-effort. Guru cannot help beyond this point. So that effort, Shishya has to work on his own. Otherwise, what will happen? Guru would have completed his job, he would have imparted the knowledge, the Shishya would have gained that knowledge, but that knowledge will be of no practical use to the Shishya. It will remain in one corner of his mind. And all the other life's problems like love, hate, anger, greed, jealousy, etc. will continue making the life more and more miserable. And not only that, people around you will taunt also. But you have been attending Gita classes for Gita Pravachanam for so many years, all useless teaching and useless Guru. They will, because of the student, the Guru also will get a bad name. Therefore, one should not stop just with Shravanam Mananam. One needs to take the spiritual pursuit to its logical end. And the effort has to be the Shishyas. And we saw two topics, Sthira Prajna Sadhanani and Sthira Prajna Lakshanani in some detail. Under the Sthira Prajna Sadhanani, Krishna prescribes 3 exercises or 3 disciplines. Indriya Nigraha, sense mastery. In fact, in the last class, we saw the summary of the teachings relating to Indriya Nigraha. But at the cost of repetition, I will emphasize that by Nigraha, we do not mean suppression. Suppression is very dangerous. As the other end, that is a free let go philosophy, that is also dangerous. So Indriya Nigraha, we must understand, means regulation, channelization, direction, mastery over the sense organs. And this is the first level filter to prevent all unnecessary rubbish things from this world entering into our mind. Then the second discipline that Krishna emphasizes is Mano Nigraha, thought discipline. Because thoughts, if you observe, occur in our mind not only because of things entering into our mind through the various 5 sense organs, but also the mind has got the capability to generate its own thoughts, dwell on own thoughts. Something might have happened 1 year ago, and there is some instance which is happening now, which brings in the thoughts of what happened 1 year ago. And the mind starts dwelling in those thoughts. So therefore, many of the thoughts, if we observe, are not deliberately entertained by us. Some thought, of course, we deliberately entertain. But there are many thoughts which occur on their own. They just come as they like at any time. Especially when I am attending a Bhagavad Gita class. When we are in Dhyanam also, meditation, so many thoughts will enter our mind. Isn't it? Those who try to practice meditation will know. We have no control over those thoughts. Because the thoughts, we must understand, are determined not only by our experiences with the world, but also by our subconscious or unconscious. Our samskaras carried forward from our previous births can also decide our thoughts. This thought-making process in the mind is a very complicated process. Similarly, dreams also very complicated process. So now Krishna says, thoughts, arrival of thoughts, you have no control. For example, your eyes are open and there are certain scenes which are entering in your mind, and they are actually generating certain thoughts in your mind. You have no control because you cannot shut your eyes and walk. When you are walking on the road, you have to keep your eyes open. So there is no control over what thoughts are occurring in the mind. And also, as with relation to the past, we cannot change the past. So those vrittis are already there, stored in the mind, and they will be surfaced suddenly without our knowledge. So Krishna says you have no control over what thoughts occur in your mind. But there is something that you can do. You can either decide to patronize those thoughts, perpetuate those thoughts, or you can consciously decide to let them pass, ignore them, and continue with what you were doing. If the thoughts are not healthy for absorption of Vedanta, learn to ignore them. Do not feed those thoughts. Only those thoughts grow beyond proportion which we choose to feed. If we refuse to feed the thoughts, they will automatically go away. This is the practice that we have to do under Mano Nigraha. This is the sadhana. Keep watching your thoughts, then take a call whether this thought is useful for me, conducive to my Vedanta learning, let it occur. If it not, remove that, ignore that, and just go away from that thought. Continuous practice when you do this of Mano Nigraha, automatically all these unnecessary thoughts will stop coming into your mind. Your mind will always be occupied with only those thoughts which will promote Vedanta learning, Vedanta sadhanas. And this is Mano Nigraha. Then the final discipline, third and final discipline Krishna talked about was Nididhyasanam. What is Nididhyasanam? Dwelling upon the teaching as often as possible. Every opportunity you get to recall the teaching, to go deeper into the teaching, to understand its various dimensions. It may be through reading a book. It may be through talking to somebody, sharing your thoughts with somebody else. That somebody should be of like-minded person. It should not be somebody who will actually put all sorts of opposite thoughts in your mind that all this Vedanta is useless. Or even repeated listening in one form or the other, listening to the Mahatmas. There are a lot of tapes available on the internet and all that. You can buy those talks. Puja Swamiji, Swami Paramathananda, all these talks are available. So repeatedly listening in one form or the other, with closed eyes, open eyes. The essence is that you must dwell upon the teaching continuously. If these three you are ready to do, gradually the knowledge will start getting assimilated. And Nididhyasanam is a most important sadhana for that purpose. Krishna will talk more about Nididhyasanam in the 6th chapter. So these are the Sthira Pragya Sadhanani. And the next topic is Sthira Pragya Lakshanani. Once I have well assimilated the knowledge, then what transformation it will bring about in my life, in my day-to-day behavior, is described by Krishna in many slokas. I will emphasize only 2 points. First is gaining freedom from binding desires born out of self-sufficiency, self-fulfillment. This knowledge, this self-knowledge will give me such a mental fulfillment that I do not have any binding desires any longer. Whatever I do, whatever I want to do thereafter, they are only my preferences. I would like to do them. If they are done and successful, very good. But if they are not fulfilled, also it does not matter to me, because I don't have them as my binding desires. They are preferences. We can call them non-binding desires. So all binding desires are gone, and only non-binding desires, if any, remain, which are harmless. And why? This is because of my feeling of Purnatvam. I don't miss anything in my life. And the second important trait of this assimilation is Samatvam, or equanimity of the mind. Which means what? Freedom from Raga, Bhaya, Krodha that we saw. Turbulences caused by fear, turbulences caused by anger, turbulences caused by jealousy. All these things, they do not come to me. I enjoy Samatvam in spite of the ups and downs in life. Therefore, constant tranquility of the mind is the second benefit. And we saw that to convey this idea, Krishna gave the example of the ocean. Apuryamanam Acharya Pratishtam Samudra Mavah. That sloka we saw toward the end of the 2nd chapter. So just as the ocean is ever full, water flowing into the ocean in the form of rivers or rains, or water evaporating from the ocean in the form of clouds and all, do not make any difference to the ocean. Therefore, Purnatvam and Samatvam are the main traits of Sthira Prajna. And Krishna concludes the chapter by saying that this Sthira Prajna is a free bird. Wherever he goes, he never faces any conflict. Not only he enjoys freedom while living, he enjoys freedom after death also. So both Jivan Muktihi and Videha Muktihi, Krishna covers towards the end of the 2nd chapter. And with this, the 4th and the final topic of the 2nd chapter is over. So what were the 4 topics? 4 topics were, if you can recall, first is Arjuna Sharanagati, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, then Sthira Prajna, Lakshanani and Sadhanani and Lakshana. But amongst these 4 topics, Jnana Yoga is the theme. That is what Krishna wanted to emphasize, because that is the theme of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And that is why the chapter was called Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga, here the word is used as a substitute for Jnana Yoga. So this is the summary of the 2nd chapter. If anybody has got any doubt about this, you can make a note of it, and after today's class, we can clarify those doubts. Now, with this, we will enter the 3rd chapter called Karma Yoga. As I told you, From third chapter onwards, Krishna picks up the topics and he is going to elaborate more and more on the topics which are already talked about in the second chapter. Various dimensions of each topic also he will talk. That's going to be up to the 17th chapter. This is what is going to be the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita for us. So we will go to the third chapter. Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat king karmani ghore ma niyojayasi keshava. The Anvaya is Arjuna uvacha he janardana chet buddhihi mata te jayasi karmanah tat kim niyojayasi mam ghore karmani he keshava. Arjuna uvacha, Arjuna asked, he janardana, O Krishna, chet, if buddhihi mata te, self-knowledge is considered by you, jayasi karmanah, to be superior to action, tat, then, kim niyojayasi mam, why do you engage me, ghore karmani, in this cruel action? He Keshava, O Krishna. So Arjuna has got this. Second chapter, he has understood there are 4 topics Krishna has talked about and all that. Arjuna's take is, Krishna is now glorifying Jnana Yoga as the most important goal in life. So here he is now having a doubt. He is questioning his guru. O Krishna, if self-knowledge is considered by you to be superior to action, jnanam superior to karma, then why do you engage me in this cruel action? You are asking me to get up and fight always. Why do you want to do that if you yourself consider that self-knowledge is better than karma? So here, the third chapter of the Gita begins with a question from Arjuna. And of course, as I said, it is based on the teaching given in the second chapter. Here, Arjuna seems to be a little confused with regard to Krishna's teaching. Even though, as we have seen, Krishna has been very clear in what he taught. And Arjuna's confusion is because of the following reason. We can actually try to understand from where Arjuna is coming. Because in the second chapter, if you see, right in the beginning, Krishna started by chiding Arjuna. Isn't it? He says, don't be what is that? Klaibyam masma gamah partha, all that he said. Then he extolled Arjuna to stand up and fight. And then once Arjuna surrendered to Krishna as a student, Krishna started teaching with Jnana Yoga or self-knowledge. He started with Ashocyan Anna Shochastvam Pragyavadanscha Bhashase. Gatasuna Gatasuscha Nanushocanti Pandita. So the most emphasis Krishna gave right in the beginning of this teaching was Pandita na Anushocanti. Wise people do not grieve in life. So Arjuna, be a wise man, don't grieve. That was the message Arjuna understood. And through this, Krishna emphasized the point that wisdom alone is the remedy for problem of grief. And from that, we get a corollary that ignorance alone is the cause for grief. Ajnanam, ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of my own self. What truly I am. And this is the foundation of Vedanta. Ajnanat dukkham, jnanat sukham. Ignorance causes sorrow, knowledge gives happiness or freedom from sorrow. So, if we see, Krishna has emphasized jnanam in the very beginning of the teaching. And at the end of the second chapter also, Krishna has emphasized jnanam alone, because he said in the last sloka, Brahma Nirvanam Richati, even after death, Antakale api, even at the time of death, Esha Brahmi Stiti Partha, Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati, Stitvasyam Antakale api Brahma Nirvanam Richati. So, there again he is talking about what? Esha Brahmi Stitihi. The one who is abiding in this Brahman, he is freed, liberated. And in this portion, Krishna talked about this Sthita Prajna elaborately. In fact, Arjuna's question was just a very simple question. What is the characteristics of a Sthita Prajna, a man of clear knowledge? Krishna spent some 17, 18, or 20 slokas to talk about the greatness of a Jnani. So, what Krishna wanted to emphasize was a Jnani will never have delusion in life. Not only Jnanam is a solution for sorrow, Jnanam is also the medicine for conflicts in life also. And if we look at it, Arjuna's primary problem were these two, sorrow and conflict. In fact, first conflict and the sorrow arising out of that conflict. Should I kill? How can I kill all my my people? And in the second chapter beginning and also at the end of the chapter, as we just now saw, Krishna said that Jnanam is a common medicine for both the problems, for both Shoka and Moha, sorrow and delusion. This much all Arjuna has absorbed. So Arjuna naturally gets the idea that instead of worrying about other things, we should work for the Jnanam medicine. How do we get Jnanam? Only by going in search of a source of knowledge. Either going in search of a guru or going in search of a gurukula. Therefore, pursuit of Jnanam, knowledge is presented as the remedy for the problem of samsara, both in the beginning of the second chapter, or in fact in the beginning of the teaching in the second chapter, and also in the end. But in between, in the second chapter, Krishna talks about karma also very much. We have seen those slokas. Krishna strongly advises Arjuna, Yogastak kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. He says, Karmani kuru Arjuna, perform action. So therefore, the doubt in Arjuna's mind is very natural. In the beginning and the end, Jnanam is glorified. And in the middle, Krishna is talking about karma. So Arjuna wants to know, should I go after Jnanam or should I dedicate my life for karma? Should I follow Jnana Yoga or should I follow Karma Yoga? Very natural question, which not only Arjuna, we are all Arjunas. When we read the second chapter and apply our mind, this conflict just, stares us at our face, this contradiction. And in the first chapter, we have observed that Arjuna has an inclination to give up this war, not to fight this war, give up the karma. Because the karma that he is required to do is very unpleasant. Even though as a Kshatriya, Arjuna loved to fight wars and win them, he wants to avoid this war because of the presence of Bhishma, Drona, etc. in the opposite camp. So he wants to avoid this karma and therefore is looking for an escape route. And as I said, Krishna talks about glory of Jnanam in the second chapter. Therefore, Arjuna feels that it's a very nice opportunity. I will drop this bow and arrow and say to Krishna, hey Krishna, you only have said that Jnanam is superior, is the only remedy. Therefore, I will go in search of some Gurukulam and study the Gita, Upanishad, etc. Gita, of course, he can't study because Krishna has not completed the teaching. But even you will say, okay, now we will not fight. We will go to go and sit under some nice banyan tree and you teach me entire thing about Upanishad. So thus he can avoid the war. In fact, there are people who attempt to join Gurukulam to avoid the domestic wars of samsara, which they have to fight day in and day out back in their homes. They get fed up and they say, okay, let me go to some ashram and spend my time there. But ashram is not the place, because if they come there, they will create problem there also. Therefore, no, in Harsha Vidya Gurukulam, even Chinmaya Mission and all, in all these Gurukulams, they have very strict admission process. And only those who have a fair degree of Jnana Yogyata are admitted for the Vedanta course. Not everybody who applies, because first of all, these courses are almost offered free, only some actual expenses relating to boarding, lodging are taken. Teaching is free. Books are free. So it's a very attractive thing. Anybody can come and join and sit there, pass his time without any idea of learning what he he has come for. So in the context of all these things, Krishna's advice, Yogastha Kuru Karmani, is standing in the way of Arjuna. And Krishna has also said, Arjuna, you should do your duty, which happens to be fighting the war here. And therefore, somehow Arjuna wants Krishna to come to the point that I agree, Arjuna, you go for Jnana Yoga. And genuinely also probably is confused. And he needs a clear instruction from Krishna to go for Jnanam instead of Karma. Maybe Arjuna has at the back of his mind that Krishna is a confusing teacher, which is a little stretch, because Arjuna, being a Shishya, cannot think in those terms about the Guru. We will see about that in the next sloka. But it looks as if Arjuna feels that Krishna is a confusing teacher. And this is because we are very experts in blaming others. Swami Paramatmananda very humorously says, to err is human, to put the blame on someone else is more human. Therefore, Arjuna finds fault with Krishna instead of finding fault with himself and his own understanding. And therefore, he says the words that he uses are literally, moya siva me, you are confusing me. On the one hand, you are glorifying Jnanam as the best, and the only remedy for sorrow and conflict. And in the same breath, you are advising me to do karma, that is, fight this war. It is as if you are saying, hey Arjuna, Jnanam is great, therefore do karma. It sounds ridiculous, contradictory, unintelligent. Krishna, you glorify Jnanam and ask me to do karma? But let us pause here. Let Arjuna understand whatever way he wants to understand. We also do not know. We are just guessing that this is Arjuna's understanding. But we should not commit the same mistake. We had studied the second chapter in detail. There does not seem to be any confusion in Krishna's teaching. First of all, Arjuna does not seem to have appreciated that the second chapter is a sort of a summary of the whole Gita. Therefore, Krishna has touched upon all the important topics, and he has also highlighted in the second chapter what Arjuna needs to do now at this moment. Therefore, even though Krishna has talked about Jnanam and glorified it, his emphasis has been on Arjuna fighting the war, that is doing his karma. In the very third sloka, he said, Shudram Hridaya Daurbhalyam Tyaktva Uttishta. Cast away your weakness of heart, which is Shudram, deplorable. Tyaktva, cast away. Uttishta, get up, rise up. Then in the 18th sloka, he said, Antavanta ime deyaha nityasyokta pari sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmat yudhyasva bharata. Therefore you fight, hey Arjuna. So Krishna has been very clear that he wants Arjuna to get up from the floor of the chariot, which he had sat down in the end of the first chapter, get up and fight. Therefore, there is no confusion in what Krishna wants to advise. In fact, the confusion is because of improper grasping of on the part of Arjuna. And this confusion is widely prevalent among people who are also, trying to understand what is the scriptures about Upanishad teaching, Bhagavad Gita, and all, especially Bhagavad Gita. Many Acharyas have unwittingly contributed to this confusion also. We have seen people asking whether Karma Yoga is superior or Jnana Yoga is superior. There are some people who add two more yogas. Bhakti Yoga is superior or Raja Yoga is superior. Later, so many self-styled God-men have appeared, and they also claim to teach Bhagavad Gita, and they add Kundalini Yoga, and so many yogas which they fancy for, they add all that and then try to debate which one is superior, which one is not superior. Everybody is in this race to compare, where everybody wants the best. So I will choose only what is the most superior. So all this debate keeps on going on in spiritual circles, so-called spiritual circles. And the irony is, without any reference to scriptures, especially the Upanishads, because Upanishads only is the scripture, Vedanta, which has got the full details of the moksha package. No other scripture gives this moksha package as in a detailed manner as the Upanishads. But unfortunately, all these are all presented at different paths to moksha. Karma Yoga path, Jnana Yoga path, Bhakti Yoga path, Raja Yoga path. And there are Acharyas who say, since all paths leading to one goal, we can choose any one of them. This approach is very much prevalent. And people who are new to this subject get totally confused. And Arjuna also is committing the same mistake. He is trying to compare Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, and he wants to dump one of them. According to his understanding, his claim is that since Jnana Yoga is superior method, so we should take to Jnana Yoga so that we can avoid karma also. This is what is the case he wants to build up. Here alone, we should very clearly grasp this Shastric essence. We should never ever compare Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, because comparison is possible only where there are options. From the study of the second chapter itself, we find that Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are not optional sadhanas. On the other hand, both of them are equally important for every individual in the spiritual pursuit. Karma Yoga is the first stage of the sadhana, which makes a person fit for Jnana Yoga. It is just like asking whether you want to do post-graduation after undergraduation, or do you want to do undergraduation after post-graduation. There is no question of choice here. One can do post-graduation only after one does undergraduation and not the other way around. Without undergraduation, post-graduation is not possible. Similarly, Karma Yoga has to be done first before one even thinks of Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is impossible without Karma Yoga. And Krishna had made this very clear in the second chapter. It is a different matter that Arjuna did not grasp it. Krishna said, Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatita rishyati tata tada gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya srutasya cha. Very clearly he says, Yada te moha kalilam buddhihi vyatita rishyati. Purify your mind, your washing the hand, like it's like washing the hand before eating. You have to initially go through Karma Yoga and prepare the mind, purify the mind. Karma Yoga is like wash, Jnana Yoga is like eating. Both are essential. Both are equally important. And it is more important to wash your hands before eating. Of course, after eating also one has to wash one's hands. That's a different matter. But before eating, one has to wash his hands. Karma Yoga has to come first, then only Jnana Yoga can come. There's no question of any choice in this. And Arjuna is asking Krishna, tell me one of the two. How can Krishna tell one of the two? Therefore, Krishna advised Arjuna to do karma not as an option, but as a preparatory step. Krishna's advice is what? Hey Arjuna, do karma, purify your mind, gain knowledge and be free. And this is the essence of the entire Gita. Act, purify, know and be free. This is the scheme of the Vedas also. Veda Purva Bhaga, Kanda is all about Karma Yoga only. And Veda Uttara Bhaga, Vedanta is about Jnana Yoga. One cannot enter Jnana Yoga or appreciate the message of the Upanishads unless one has got a very clear understanding of what Veda Purva Bhaga is meant for. That is where Sakama Karma, Nishkama Karma and all come into play. In fact, a Grihastha is supposed to practice Veda Purva Bhaga. And then, after the responsibilities, he has sufficiently practiced the sadhanas which are there, initially with Sakama attitude, later on with Nishkama attitude for Chitta Shuddhi. Once he has gained sufficient Chitta Shuddhi, the same Grihastha can actually withdraw from his Grihastha life, go to Vanaprastha, prepare himself for a sannyasa stage and getting into Jnana Yoga, full-fledged. This is the scheme of the Vedas also, and that is the essence of Gita also. Rather. Do action, purify your mind, gain knowledge, and be liberated. There is no confusion. But Arjuna seems not to have listened properly, and therefore he misunderstands. And Swami Paramathananda said, this is called filtered listening. And this is one of the greatest problems any student faces. When he comes to the class, he wants to listen to certain things because already he has formed certain preconceived notions. He would have heard some people say, in Kali Yuga, bhakti alone will work, not jnana yoga. Something like this has gone into his head. Karma yoga will not work in Kali Yuga. Then there will be another set of people who will say, for emotional people, jnana yoga will not work. Bhakti yoga only will work. In bhakti yoga, you must actually delve deep into bhakti so that you should cry. Actually, you must become so emotional. That is the height of bhakti yoga. Tears should roll down your eyes in your absorption in bhakti. All this, they make up all these kind of scenarios they will tell. As such, we are crying every day into dealing with our day-to-day problems. Bhakti yoga will add some more crying to our life. So like this, we have got certain fixed notions and we listen with that kind of a filter in our brain. And if the Acharya says whatever we had thought of, then we will say today's talk was very nice. We will appreciate the talk because it gels with what our thinking and our understanding is. This is called filtered listening. Already you have got some idea in your mind and somebody else reconfirms that, very good, correct. I was right in my understanding. So here Arjuna, right from the beginning, wanted to avoid karma. He wanted to avoid this war. Therefore, he probably did not listen properly. Krishna's advice was karma is necessary and then jnanam is necessary. And based on this wrong grasping of what Krishna wanted to say, Arjuna raises this question. But see the greatness of Krishna as a guru. He does not blame Arjuna. He does not say, Arjuna, what are you talking? You have not heard me properly. While in the class, you should keep your eyes and ears open, not allow your mind to wander around. Or Krishna could have told as a guru. Many gurus say such things to the students. He does not say you have not listened properly. That is the greatness of a teacher. He listens to the question as though it is a fresh and intelligent question. Even though in his own mind he knows that it is born out of improper listening. Krishna never blames. In fact, he says, oh, is this a question? He devotes one whole chapter. He teaches the whole thing once again, elaborating the importance of karma yoga in this third chapter. So we will find that in this third chapter, Krishna will elaborate karma yoga portion, and fourth and fifth chapters, he will touch upon more elaborately on the jnana yoga portion. So with this kind of a background, let us study Arjuna's question. Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna asked, what did he say? Hey Janardhana, buddhihi jayasi karmanaha. Buddhihi means what? Atma jnana, here, self-knowledge. We must understand that, like other languages also, in Sanskrit, almost every word has got different meanings in different contexts. Because Sanskrit is a live language. It keeps on, the acharyas, the scholars keep on working on the language, developing the language. And the beauty is in Sanskrit, it is achieved through a very beautiful mechanism, like plug-in and, there is a root word, then you attach one a suffix to that, it gets one meaning. Then remove that suffix, attach another suffix to that root word, it gets another meaning. Remove that suffix, attach a third suffix, it gets a different meaning. So in Sanskrit, when you learn, by understanding the basic meaning of a root word and also understanding in what meaning the suffixes can be attached, we can just do permutation, combination, form our own hundreds of words and then come out with the meaning ourselves. That is the beauty and the architecture of the Sanskrit language, which we will not find in any other language. So buddhi is a word which is derived from the root buddh, to know. And here the suffix added is ti. Buddh plus ti is buddhi. And the word buddhi can also mean different things according to context. Either buddhi can refer to an object of knowledge, because ti refers to the object, buddh means to know. Buddhi can refer to the object of knowledge. Buddhi can refer to an instrument of knowledge, like our buddhi, intellect. Buddhi can refer to knowledge itself, whether it is object, whether it is instrument, or whether it is knowledge itself. We have to first understand the context in which it has been used to know in what meaning it has been used. So in this context, when you say buddhi, that does not refer to instrument, but it refers to the knowledge of the self, jnanam, and that too atma jnanam. So Arjuna is saying, Krishna, you say this atma jnanam is karmanah jyayasi. This atma jnanam appears to be superior to karma because you have praised jnanam in the beginning, you have praised jnanam in the end also. And you have presented jnanam as the remedy for sorrow and conflict. And therefore, I assume that jnanam is superior to karma. And I am not making this up. Iti te mata. This is your teaching. This is what you have told me in the second chapter. But now you seem to be up to some mischief. After glorifying jnanam repeatedly and talking so high of sthira prajna, you are asking me to do what? Mam gore karmani niyojayasi. Instead of inspiring me to go to some ashrama and study the Upanishads, etc., scriptures, you are asking me to go to the battlefield and you are engaging me in action. And we all know that action does not produce any knowledge. So on the one hand, you are glorifying jnanam, but on the other hand, you are urging me to engage in action, which is of no use at all. And there too, if the action is a noble action, if it is a pleasant action, it will still be okay. But what are you trying to do here? You are engaging me in ghore karmani, bloody action. It involves blood flow, killing of my dear ones. How can I even think of killing them? Therefore, Mam gore karmani kim niyojayasi. Why do you contradict yourself? Why do you want me to go and engage in this bloody war? You glorify one thing and you want me to engage in another thing. This is the confusion of Arjuna. He doesn't stop there. He continues in the next sloka. Vyamishrene vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. The Anvaya is Vyamishrena iva vakyena mohayasi mem buddhim iva vada nischitya tat ekam yena aham apnuyam shreya. Now he is very clearly telling Krishna, don't confuse me, tell me one thing what I should do. Clearly. Vyamishrena iva vakyena. Through seemingly contradicting statements. Vyamishrena vakya means contradicting statements. Mohayasi me buddhim. You are confusing my intellect. Iva, as it were. Vada nischitya. Tell me definitely. tat ekam, that one, that is one of the two, jnana yoga, karma yoga, yena, by which aham apnuyam shreya, I will attain the good. See, very cleverly, he wants Krishna to answer that jnana yoga is better than karma yoga. He wants to, from the horse's mouth. Once he says jnana yoga is better than karma yoga, Arjuna's job is done. He says, now I will go for jnana yoga. That's why he says, Shreya aham apnuyam shreya. Supreme good is only through jnana yoga. But here Arjuna is very careful in choosing his words because he is addressing the Guru. I'll tell you how he puts it very nicely here. So he says, those seemingly conflicting statements, you are confusing my intellect as it were. Tell me definitely one of these two by which I will attain the supreme good. This is the meaning, simple meaning of the sloka. So he said, Vyamishra Vyakyena, by using contradictory statements, confusing statements. So the confusion we know. You are glorifying Jnanam, asking me to do karma. You are saying fasting is good, and at the same time you ask me to have a sumptuous meal. This is called Vyamishra Vakyam. So, hey Krishna, you are supposed to be a Sarvanya Ishvara. In the first chapter, I found that I was confused. And to remove my confusion, I approached you. And instead of removing my confusion, you have added one more confusion. Earlier, I had only one confusion, whether to fight or not. But now the confusion is whether I should pursue jnana or do karma. The additional confusion is added. Therefore, through contradictory statements, me buddhim mohayasi, you are confusing my intellect. Here the buddhim means intellect, instrument of knowledge. In the previous sloka, the word buddhi meant self-knowledge. It's a very glaring example how the same word means different, gives different meanings in different contexts. Okay. So, because this is common in every language also, so nothing special to Sanskrit. That's why, many times when you, even in English sentences, you ask for a meaning of a specific word, the other person will say, tell me the whole sentence. Let me see that word is used. Then I will tell you the meaning, right? And in the context of the Shastra, because of this only, we require a guru to unravel the meaning of the scriptures. If we try to understand on our own, everything will go for a toss. But here, Arjuna uses a very important expression very carefully, which we have to note. That's what I said. Arjuna is actually, he knows he is addressing his guru. At the same time, he doesn't want to appear to be challenging the guru. So he uses the word iva, as though, as it were, 2 times in this sloka. So he says, Krishna, you are as though using contradictory statements. So that iva is very important. Well, Arjuna does not want to cast any aspersion on Krishna, that Krishna is contradicting himself. Because Arjuna has surrendered to him and he has total shraddha in the Guru, total faith in Krishna. So at one corner of the mind, he is questioning himself, how can my Guru, my friend, the Lord Karunamurti confuse me? Therefore, I do not want to say you are contradicting me. It appears as though you are contradicting. That means in the previous sloka, there was a suggestion that he was blaming Krishna, but by the time Arjuna recovers himself and puts the blame on himself, And by that action, he is reinforcing the faith that he has in the teaching of Krishna. This is the sign of a good student. If what the Guru says does not make sense to the student should always question himself. Probably the problem is with me. I have not understood what the Guru said. Let me go and with all humility request the Guru, appeal to the Guru to explain to me once more. And that is where the Guru has to have tons and tons of patience. I have seen such a Guru in Swami Sadatmananda in the Gurukula. There will be 40, 50 students listening to the talk, and different students will have different doubts of what has already been taught. There will be a handful of students who have understood what was taught, but there will be many students who probably thought that there is contradictions in the statement. And every student will raise the question, and sometimes Swamiji has actually repeated the whole class again for the benefit of those students. This is what is called Karuna Murti. The Guru is so, has a feeling of compassion for the students. He wants every student to understand what is taught properly. And he is prepared to go in length for that purpose. And the student's approach also should be that Vidya Vinaya Sampanna, the more and more Vidya you get, it should bring in the humility in you, the Vinayam in you. It should reinforce the trust in the teacher, the faith in the teacher. This is the proper attitude on the part of a student, and this is how a Guru should approach the students also while teaching. We'll stop here and continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guruji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Guruji.
Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hariom.
Thank you,
Guruji.
Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Guruji,
Thank you, Guruji.
Yes. What
Is-
question?
is Arjuna trying to bowl a googly to Krishna?
No, I probably he started with that, then he changed his mind. He realized that, that is not the way I should do it. And here, there's a lot of lessons for us to learn also. Many times this may occur in our mind also. We may also start behaving like what Arjuna started, but then immediately he collects himself and he uses proper words, so that it doesn't seem to offend the Guru. As if it is contradicting. Means that you are not contradicting. To me, it appears as if it is contradicting, as though it contradicts. So he probably started with this thing, oh, this Krishna is confusing me. So first sloka, he started with a little vigor. He slowed down, and then second sloka, he balanced.
Like if you say Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, unless service you put in effort, you cannot gain knowledge. And knowledge is
Both.
required even for performing well in the war front.
Correct.
So they are both interlinked.
They are very much interlinked. And in fact, what has to come in war front also, first you do all the mock drills and things like that and practice, then only you are sent to the real front. Similarly,
Absolutely correct.
Here, Karma Yoga, you first do Karma Yoga, purify your mind, and then go to Jnana Yoga. Without doing Karma Yoga, with all impurities in the mind, if you straight away go to Jnana Yoga, you will be wasting your time, Guru's time, and Scripture's time also. Nothing will go into the head. In fact, many people ask this question, why I am not able to understand what is being taught. There are people, 25 years they have been Swami Paramatmananda students. It has not made any difference to their lives. The reason is, they think that by listening to Swami Paramatmananda, Vedanta, Upanishad and all, moksha is automatically going to come. Nothing will come automatically.
Correct.
You have to first focus before going to Paramatmananda ji also, or even after you go to him. Simultaneously, you must practice Karma Yoga.
Yeah.
The more and more you practice Karma Yoga, the more and more purification of mind will be achieved.
Correct.
And more of the teaching will start setting in your mind. They don't understand the connection, like Arjuna. Tell me whether I should do Karma Yoga, I should do Jnana Yoga. They are not two different things.
Exactly.
They are part A and part B of the same one.
Same thing. Correct.
Part A, then do part B. That is what it is. But unfortunately, there are. I have myself seen some writings and all. 4 different parts to moksha, this, that, and all. There is no pramanam for all these things in our Upanishads. From where
Probably
they
Arjuna
get
was
these ideas?
trying to find an escape route, not to fight the war.
Correct. That is the main aim of Arjuna. And when Krishna talks about Jnana Yoga, he thought, let me catch hold of this. I will run away. I go to Arsa Vidya Gurukulam in Anaikatti and sit there. So that is
Interesting.
what probably Arjuna thought. That's why Krishna said,
Very
no,
nice.
I will tell you one whole chapter of Karma Yoga now. I'm going to teach you Karma Yoga, what it is, because you don't seem to have understood the connection between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So I will teach you full. Karma Yoga, first I will teach you. That's what Krishna is going to start now from the next sloka always. But he is also very careful. Krishna, I will tell you next class and all when we see that. Krishna also is not giving a very categorical answer to Arjuna. He is presenting what is there in the scriptures. And he is allowing Arjuna the freedom to understand and raise questions. He is not spoon feeding. He doesn't spoon feed Arjuna. That's another very beautiful aspect of teaching. We'll see all that in the future classes.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Any other question? Lataji, yes, you have raised your hands.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
It is a lovely session. It is so beautiful listening to it. Guruji, I have a simple question about moha. Moha.
What happened? Oh, something went wrong.
Guruji, I have a question. Shall we wait or?
No, I think her
Okay,
internet connection is dropped. So not
okay.
there.
Yeah. As you said in the whole today's teachings, Karma Yoga first part and Jnana Yoga second part, that is understood. And Bhakti Yoga is common to both, common to all, that is also understood. Now remaining is the Yoga Sadhana that is told in the 6th chapter. That is considered as a parallel path?
No, that is also one of the sadhanas one needs to practice. Because this yoga sadhana, basically, especially when we are talking about
Guruji, sorry.
Ashtanga. One
sorry,
second, let me finish this.
Again, I temporarily got disconnected. So I am back again.
Yes.
So
One
the
second, let me finish.
Can I complete the question,
Lataji,
Guruji?
one second.
Oh, you're answering somebody else's question. Okay.
Answering
Sorry.
Anjali's question. So I will finish that in 1 minute and come back to you. Okay?
Yeah, sorry, I was not
So
aware of
the
that.
6th chapter, it basically is Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana means meditation. But what are the preparatory steps required for meditation? Krishna talks about in the context of Ashtanga Yoga. So again, that is a practice which one needs to, for Nididhyasanam, Ashtanga Yoga has to be used as a sadhana. We will see all that. So these are all not independent or optional things. Everything has to be done. That is the simple. The course contents are everything, all subjects are there. It is not either this or that or that. That is what you have to understand. Okay. But that has not been understood by many people. That's why they think these are all independent paths. They are not independent parts at all.
So you say
They are
Jnana
all-
Yoga is the ultimate. One has to
Jnana
do.
Yoga is the ultimate, because if you want moksha, if your goal is moksha, it can be gained only through jnana.
Jnanam.
Correct. But to gain that jnanam, you have to do all these things.
So all these things are
Not only
preparatory.
gaining jnanam, not only gaining, assimilating that knowledge, abiding in that knowledge. That is also important, right?
Okay.
So that is what will give moksha. So for that, what all things you to do, you have to do. All these things have to be done.
Okay. Okay, Guruji. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Lataji, sorry, come back.
No, sorry, I had got temporarily disconnected.
Yeah,
Guruji.
yeah.
Now, according in this shloka, the meaning of word moha is the confusion, isn't it? But are there other meanings?
Delusion.
Other meanings of moha? Like I was all this while I was thinking, entice is the meaning of mohas.
No. That is a meaning which we take in other languages, moham, right? Enticement or attraction and all that. But in Sanskrit, the way the word moha is, you can say confusion or delusion.
Delusion.
When you are deluded thinking, which is more or less like confused thinking only, right?
Yes.
Delusion is what? You see something, understand as if something different. That is delusion, isn't it?
Yes.
So it is the when the scriptures talk about shoka, moha, and all that, there is it starts from krodha.
Yes.
Then it goes to shoka and then to moha. So anger is stated as the seed, because of which leads eventually to a deluded thinking.
Yes. Okay, Guruji.
That is the connection. So moha means delusion or confusion. You can take. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Any other question? If not, shall I close the session and meet next week? Okay.
Thank you,
Fine.
Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Pranam.
Guruji.
Pranam.
Pranam. Thank you.